Nice not to have the kitchen in the background behind me, to have actually a professional space. This has been absolutely wonderful. I wanted to talk today about professionalism, especially when it concerns constructive criticism. I need to change the light in here. This is very yellow. Need to get one of those Ring cameras, I guess. Still pretty old. Oh well, we'll live with it. So constructive criticism. The very first thing would be you do not want the person that you're talking to feel demeaned. In fact, I would start off by lifting them up. As you're receiving it, well, again, if you're giving constructive criticism, understand that the first word should not be constructive, it's just criticism. And people don't like to be criticized. Maybe that'll help the white balance a little bit. That's better. People just don't like to be criticized. They don't like to be told what they've done wrong. They don't like to feel like they're just not good enough. That's kind of the tape that runs through my mind most of the time, is this sense of not feeling like I'm not good enough. So when I receive, when someone's trying to be constructively criticizing, all I hear is the criticism. I don't hear the construction part. And that's, especially if it's someone that's close to me that's trying to help. A lot of people I will just blow off. I'll just say, you don't know what all went into that. But if it's someone that's especially close to me, then all I can really hear is the criticism part. And unless they are really discussing how to improve. Now, there's a difference between saying, well, you're doing this wrong, and saying, this is how you can do better. And it's important to start off with a compliment or a lot of compliments. Tell them the things that they've done right. Tell them the things they do well. This says it's not working. I don't know if I had more than one instance open. Tell them the things they do well. Start off with building them up before you go tearing them down. A lot of people are very insecure in their own skin. Even if they feel like they're good at their job, they may not feel like they're good enough. It's something that I personally struggle with because I'm a perfectionist, and I want everything to be perfect. And on top of that, at least according to my youngest sister, I evidently have ADHD. I had no idea. But it kind of comes with this sense of if I'm not the very best, I'm not good enough. I kind of dealt with it in high school by tutoring all the honor students. But that's kind of, when you're a perfectionist, if everything's not perfect, it's not good enough. So I know for myself, if someone wants to offer, constructive criticism, it doesn't do them any good to tell me what I did wrong. It just doesn't. When that happens, I shut down. I can't even hear it. I kind of will set my face in a fake smile and just hope that they shut up. because, you know, at least in my mind, it doesn't do much good to tell them anything. But I will, you know, a lot of times it's in a professional setting. Sometimes it's in a personal setting. And if it's in a personal setting, then I really don't want to rock the boat. And if it's in a professional setting, sometimes it's just better to let the person have their say and pretend it's okay and move on. I guess it gets messier when it's both personal and professional. But I know that, you know, for myself, if someone wants to criticize me, they're not going to get anywhere with me by saying, you did this wrong. They will get a lot further, and I don't think I'm that weird about it. They will get a lot further by saying, oh, I see how you did this, but I would prefer if you did it this way. And it doesn't matter what it is. You know, I see that you mop the floor with Pine Sol, but if moving forward, would you please use Fabuloso? I just really prefer the scent. That's not putting anyone down. It's actually just stating a preference. You know, I like the lavender scent better. Could you use that next time? Or if, you know, in an accounting or business setting, it'd be more like, well, I noticed that you categorize these transactions this way, and I do see where you come from on that. However, I would like them categorized this other way. Again, that's not a criticism. That is simply stating a preference, and it's kind. If you start off, if you say, well, you know, those transactions are wrong, or it's wrong to use Pine Sol to mop the floor, then the person feels put down, belittled, useless, worthless. Like they're just not doing a good enough job for you. What you don't want is for them to say, you know what, I'm done. At least I assume that's what you know, if you're running a business, that's not what you want to have someone do. If you're running a personal relationship, you don't want to have, you know, your significant other say, you know what, I can't load the dishwasher right for you. I'm done. I can't deal with it anymore. And it just happened to me. So I realized, you know, what a big thing I have about criticism, and it's not constructive. So if it's constructive, it would be, you know, I want you to do things this way instead. It wouldn't have the underlying statement that I'm just not good enough. That's very important as you run a business, because you need to be able to give feedback to the people that work for you. The reason I titled this, you know, Constructive Criticism, is that as a business owner, I have to do evaluations. And sometimes I have to do 360 evaluations. And that was one of the things that I was really thinking about, was that I don't want to sit down with someone and say, you did this wrong. I want to say, this is the system. As long as you stay within the system, you can do whatever you want, but you have to follow the system. I don't care. There's things that I don't care about. There's things that I care about very much. And what frustrated me was when I would work with people and I would say, you know, this is the system. And I was learning how to be a trainer. And so I was making a ton of mistakes, and I would tell them right out of the gate, you're my guinea pig. I don't really know what I'm doing. You know, I've never done this before. This is a brand new startup. I need you to bear with me as I learn how to do this job. Because the only way to learn a job, especially if it's part of a startup, is to do it. That's really the only way. And there was a lot of backstabbing that was going on that I was completely oblivious to. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of how I want to evaluate my employees moving forward, and I'm trying to evaluate whether or not I'm trying to evaluate a personal relationship as well. So just kind of be aware as you are. I mean, we have to give feedback, but it's not the same thing as criticism. Again, feedback would be, a customer called and they said this. I don't know if it's true or not. However, if what they said is not true, then you can just ignore what I'm about to say. If it is, would you please not do that anymore, or do something different, or however it is that you want that person to handle that. In more of a coaching type of a way. Also, my take on it is if I've hired someone that does not want to be coached, I don't want them working for me. I don't want to work with them. I don't want to work around them. I don't care how good they are as an accountant. They could be, the head of Ensign Gray. I don't care. I want to know, are they coachable? And are they going to be able to accept feedback? And are they going to walk out in a huff because, oh my gosh, I just don't need this. I'm a professional. Well, you know what? So am I. And if it wasn't intended with, how do I want to phrase that? Anytime I give feedback to an employee, it's intended with kindness and to help them improve. Anytime. However, that feedback has to come. And I always assume the best of my employees. But I have to have those hard conversations. And it doesn't do me any good for me to have conversations that I honestly don't want to have. I don't want to have those conversations with my bookkeepers. I've never wanted to have those conversations with my bookkeepers. But I've had to have them. And so the last thing I need is someone having attitude and saying that they're done, or I'm going to go complain to someone else, or anything like that. It makes it difficult to run a business. And it makes it very, some of these girls were saying, oh, I'm a CPA. I don't care. You work for me. That's great. I'm not yet. I'm working on it. Unless I do another pivot and change my focus. But I have been doing this a long time, and I've learned a lot from a lot of mistakes. And the most expensive teacher you will ever have is experience. You're always better off learning from someone else's experience. I want to kind of throw loyalty in here too. When you have someone that's works hard to make sure that you are doing well, those are the people you want around you. That's kind of it for tonight. I am finding that I may need to be making some really hard decisions, and I don't want to make them lightly. So I just wanted to say that about criticism. You don't criticize anybody. Talk to them about how they could improve, but not in a way that makes them feel like they are, not in a way that puts them down. And saying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. So I'm kind of keep that in mind too. It's part of the reasons why a lot of times I'll stop talking, is because I've said the same things many times. I'm not getting any different results. So yeah, just kind of emotional dump, I guess. I don't know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. I'm not even sure I will be on tomorrow. I've got to finish my college algebra class, which is kicking my trash, And I didn't really think it would because I enjoy math. So, but there's just parts that I haven't used in a long time that I am trying to refresh. I'm excited because my next class will either be Principles of Management or English Communication. I don't know which yet. So have a wonderful evening. I'm looking forward to talking to you again soon.